Hello. How's it going? I'm live. That's bright. There we go. That's kind of good balance. Dennis Smith, what's up? James Best, McGee Films. Man, that's kind of weird glare, doesn't it? Gotta be careful. Let's try this.
Next available time and location.
Yeah, next available time. I should be looking for a load, but think about just going home. Trucker Steve in PA. I am cold, man. Stu Manchum, Brian Smithberg, what's up? Rick Jones. Yeah, Rick Jones, I did have a good Christmas. Thank you for asking. Or telling me or whatever. It was alright. No campfire going yet? No, I've done that before. Dan Smith, Bandana, what's up? Man. So, you know, yesterday I was thinking about, well, should I idle, should I not idle, that kind of thing. And Jeff suggested that to run the APU and to put the anti-gel in the tanks, especially on the side of the APU, so the APU will get some of it. And McGee Films, my starter went up in smoke last night. Oh man, I hate to hear that. That should be under warranty though, right? Morning, Steve, you need some hot soup. I do. So, I think the low last night was 7 with the wind chill at 0, and I went ahead and shut off the truck, turned on the, well actually what I did is I built the heat up. That's what I'm doing now. I got the heat in the sleeper going pretty strong. I got the juices flowing in the truck. That's what I did last night. I parked, I got all that going, and then shut it off, immediately turned on the APU after putting some anti-gel in the tanks. I didn't put a whole lot. I took one of those 32-ounce bottles of Power Source and put 70% in that tank and 30% in that tank. And then shut the truck off. APU is fine. Now, I think I know the limit of when you should idle. And the APU, I love this carrier. However, the heat is not keeping up on the low side when it's this cold. It just isn't. I have one of those 12-volt blankets. I plugged that in halfway through the night. It's doing good. As you can hear, my truck's rumbling. These 680s have a massive air compressor. So I don't know how noisy this is on your end. But I let the APU do all the work last night. Now, the way these carriers work is if I put the heat on the high side, then I don't have any more power as far as like to the microwave, to the CPAP machine and all that stuff. So I turned it up a little bit, but it didn't help. So I put it back on low, turned on the electric blanket, and that did the trick. So from the days of freezing my butt off in the Peterbilt, it was a non-event. So the thing I don't like, however, is these mattresses that Prime puts in these trucks, you know, the refurbished mattresses. They're memory foam, and they get really stiff when they're cold. So, but right now I'm idling the truck now. So about 6:45, you know, my delivery's at 7. I'm here at the store. I turn on the truck. It coughed. It's like, yeah, you know, and then now it's running pretty good. So. East Street, you're in Edwardsville? You're not at Snyder, though, are you? Bandana, I'm in Rolla, Missouri. Agent Orange says I pulled the plug and stayed home this week. Cold Mamba Jamma in Wisconsin, yeah. Now, here's why I'm considering going home. Every single time every single time and every single truck I've been in this kind of cold has had a breakdown. Not at Snyder, okay, Street. My first major issue with the Peterbilt happened in this kind of weather. Actually, it was colder than this. One time, when I was a company guy, I had a brand new 660 and only had about, I don't know, 12,000 miles on it. It broke down in a major way there in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. It derated, and I ended up staying in a hotel for a week, and it was this kind of weather. It was during the polar vortex. You guys remember that a couple years ago? A few years ago? So, at first it acted like a DEF issue, and then it acted like a frozen fuel filter issue, but it ended up being a fuel pump issue. So I'm not sure if Kenworth was putting one over on Transland or what. You can't trust these dealerships. And then, yeah, so every single time I've dealt with sub-zero temperatures, the truck says nope. So when you're fronting the bill, yeah, it might be time just to go home. So, Edwardsville, Kansas is a home to Swift Yard, says Mike MF Miller. Stu says wedding anniversary yesterday. The wife says it's too dang cold to go out and celebrate. She wants a rain check. I don't blame her. Jonathan Smith, yep, red check engine light came on. Yep. If you guys look, well, my thumbnail didn't show it, but my little orange mill light is on. James Best, heading out this morning to pick up the truck. 9 a.m. appointment tomorrow in Gary. Man, that's a bad time, dude. But congratulations on getting your truck. As soon as I slowed to get off the exit ramp, check antifreeze levels. Yeah, that's a good idea. I topped it off last night. Or yesterday actually, put in a little bit of oil, and so far, knock on wood, that leak hasn't happened yet. It only happened the one time. So, but thank you, 30-day ordeal. Right, James Best, it's they don't make it easy, do they? It's for me, it was a 2-week ordeal. I think for Berger it was about a week or two. I don't remember TK having a whole lot of problems, but you know, there was no, I don't know, that time lapse can make you or break you. Dealership, everything is working the way it's supposed to until the warranty expires, then you need everything. Right, and that was the thing with the 660. There was a fuel pump issue, and Cummins, because it had the Cummins in it, Cummins and Kenworth and Translam were going round and round about who's going to pay for what. -2 in Albany had a bad depth sensor, $1,100 cost on their end. Well, that's good. At least they paid for it. But yeah, I was chatting with TK on Periscope yesterday, and he said that if he tends to idle the truck at times, you know, his orange mill light will come on. See here, I'll show you guys. Don't want to blind you though. See, that's on. Now check out my water temp. There's the temperature. 14. Now, my water temp sensor, I don't know if it's down, but my water temp is hardly ever at 200. Just isn't. Everybody else with 680s said that's not normal. But the truck's running fine, so it's probably a sensor thing. But now the fan will kick on. It'll you know, at 200 degrees or 210 or whatever it is, 205. You know, if I'm, you know, in the summertime. But anyways, these new trucks are so sensitive to all the different temperatures and everything. Now, that's the other thing. Have you guys noticed? You know, they tell you that DEF fluid does not freeze. And I call BS on that. Do you know why? Because why does Pilot insulate the DEF pumps in the wintertime, in the cold climates? It does freeze. 17 degrees, I believe, is when it freezes. So they say you should idle these trucks with DEF. Alright, Stu. When you get below 17 degrees. So now the DEF, you know, now while the truck's running, I think it's fine. It's 90% water, right? Well, it might be like alcohol, where it doesn't really freeze to 100%, but it definitely changes the composition, right? So if it's thick, it won't be able to do its thing. So that's where you get the clog, 7th injectors and all that. Right. Well, you know, Agent Orange, I've been at Kenworth dealerships, you know, because when my 660 was down a few years ago, I asked him, I said, is it possible the DF froze? He goes, oh, that's impossible. That stuff doesn't freeze. I'm like, okay. And, you know, meanwhile, other drivers with the same truck, same engine, were coming in for the same problem that whole week. 9-year Virginia. CPAP, are you talking in code? So, and I was like, well, if DF doesn't freeze, then why does Pilot insulate the pumps? You know, and how good does that do? 9-year Virginia degrees. So 9 years in Virginia, it will be degrees. CPAP, you're not making any sense. So anyways, I got this thing on high idle. That's the thing, guys. You got to put the truck in high idle. Talk to text. I know what's going on with CPAP. I just thought I'd give you crap. Gee Film says 7 degrees there. Now, the first time I ever had a frozen fuel filter issue was because my truck wouldn't go in the high idle. That was the Peterbilt. That was a costly and very just costly mistake. Now, the other reason why I'm thinking about going home is if it's going to get below 0, you have to idle the truck. I don't care if it's a new truck or not. And the problem with that is that I'll stay out and then it'll get that cold and then I end up, all my profits end up going up down, you know, out of the exhaust, because like right now my truck says idle usage 1.0 gallons per hour. So just to do a 10-hour break, if you're idling, is about, you know, what, say $3 a gallon, so 3 times 10, that's $30 a night just to park. And when it's that cold, you don't want to shut that truck off. Well, Bosto Block Heater says Weird Racing. I don't have a block heater on this truck, surprisingly. I idled in Wyoming when I was stuck there for 2 days and had dev problems for the next 2 days. Right. Says McGee Films. Yeah, I don't like doing it, man. CPAP says cheaper to get a hotel, maybe not. Yeah, but then, you know, is your truck going to start in the morning? So, you know, that's the purpose of idling. It's not really to keep warm, but to keep the truck from getting frozen. So, mark my words, guys, you're going to start seeing a lot of trucks on the side of the road with the hoods open in the next 3 or 4 days. Rates are going to go through the roof because no one can cover anything on the spot market. Our rates will stay the same, though. So, it's going to get ugly next couple of days. And you know what? I think I'm just going to go home. So, unless I find a load south. That 30 bucks could save you a tow truck and a shop bill. Agent Orange, I agree wholeheartedly with that. Had to drop your loads last night, McGee Films. Yeah. But, anyways, it's cold. I said I'll get this temperature up. It's going to take them about 3 or 4 hours to unload me, so. CPAP says he's going home for the weekend. Screw it, I'm staying warm. Where is home, CPAP? "45 degrees in Georgia," rhymes with orange. There are loads going from Edwardsville to Union City, Georgia. I thought about grabbing. But here's the other thing. Got the family at home. What if you got to do things to make sure your pipes don't freeze and all that stuff. And my wife's pretty good about being on top of that stuff, but if something goes wrong, I want to be home before that. Because they're talking about negative 20 degrees wind chills at the house. Rick Jones, don't forget to bleed those air tanks. Yeah, that is true. Steve Berger, go to his channel. He did a really good video last year about winter preparation tips. It's a really good video. Talks about things you need to look for, the things that you need to be prepared for. You know, I'm good about I got water. I got 3 gallons of water. I've got non-perishable food like canned food. And even if, you know, because I remember a story, someone that I knew at Transland, they were stranded in right on I-81 or I-84 there in New York. It's 81 or 84. It was one of those big, huge snowfalls where it was like 10 inches an hour kind of things, you know, and the whole interstate was just stuck. And a situation like that, you hear about guys getting on the CB, hey, I've got nothing to eat in this truck, and they weren't prepared for when you're stranded. Also have enough blankets that if your truck does shut down and you can't get to a tow truck and you don't have anywhere inside to go, then you have enough blankets. So, but that's important too. About to have instant oatmeal stocked up on stuff while at home. This is Rise with Orange. So yeah, it's so yeah, I'm gonna look at the low board, see what's going on, because they were talking about snow in Dallas. I think on New Year's Day, a chance of snow, and Dallas is not a place you want to be if it snows. So I was telling my wife about this last night, and she's like, well, isn't that why you've been working really hard to get the money built up so you can take a week off if needed? Craig Watson, what's up, man? Harmon. So, we'll see, we'll see. There's a load going from St. Louis to Arkansas. I might grab it. And then there's a load going from Arkansas to Mississippi. I might go down there and visit Christian Trucker. Hang out with him for a minute. But no, I might just go home just to make sure everything's fine at the house. So, now it's getting toasty in here. Let's turn that off. Turn that off. Alright, let's start the APU up. Starting the APU. Started right up. I love that APU, man. I love it. Started right up. Ugh. All right, CPAP. Ugh. But what's the coldest you've ever been in, everybody? Agent Orange. Go home. It's the holidays. That's my philosophy. Yeah, well, normally, Agent Orange, in the past, I've taken the entire week of between Christmas and New Year's off. Anyways, even as a company guy. Seen something today I've never seen before. Snorlord in a jacket. Yep. You know it's cold if I'm wearing a jacket, or if I'm wearing jeans or pants. And I'm not too big on wearing winter hats either. Kind of annoy me. I don't see like these gangster wannabe guys that wear them like in the summertime. I don't see how they do that. Man, I've got thin hair too. Don't let the long hair fool you. It's thin on top, so my head does get cold, but I don't wear... I got one of those Eskimo hats that come down over your ears. That's for the really cold days. But like I said, I'll probably just go home. I gotta figure out where they want my trailer. Hair sticking up. 40 below the first day of my paper route in like 1977. 80 below with the wind chill factor. Man, that's brutal, Agent Orange. That's one of those, I can't even, I think the most I ever experienced was 40 below zero wind chill. That was up there by South Bend, Indiana. And I can't imagine 80 below zero. I just couldn't. Craig Watson, interested in becoming a Schneider driver. Your thoughts? Have talked to Jeffrey, been to Arctic Circle in the Navy. Are you wanting to be an owner-operator, Craig, or a company driver? That would be my question. Alex Express, what's up? It's freaking crazy. Nothing works normal. Right. Agent Orange, when it's that cold, steel becomes brittle. Like, that's just one of those where you just shut down and just don't even deal with it. Craig Watson, company that I see. I know a lot of company drivers here that are happy. If you go through the chat list, you got James Best, who is a company driver that went to IC, and you've got My Truck and Life Ace, who has gone from company to IC. So those two guys would be the definite ones to talk to. I've never worked the company side of Snyder. And I can probably turn this light off now. I do know that if being an IC is your goal, then starting from the company side would be a good idea, because that way you get to know what our freight base is and how to work the Qualcomm and all that stuff. So I'm not going to say don't do it. You know, Snyder tends to be a little bit more anal about the safety stuff because they don't want to have the same image that Swift and Werner does. So they're a little bit heavy-handed on some of the safety stuff, but for the most part, you know, I would have no problem referring somebody to the company side. Lost a bet, my tongue did stick to it. Says Bandana. You're in Florida, Alex. Lucky you. Yeah, Rick Jones says Alex is running the AC. Did you guys see Thor's live feed yesterday? He was sitting there in California. It's like 89 degrees. James Best says if you start on the company side first, you can concentrate on just low board when you go IC. Right. You need to get a red dot in the line block heater. Pick one up for around $100 at any Napa. Just goes in your heater hose. Huh. I'll have to check that out, Keith James. Everybody look at Yukon. Yukon, what's up, man? Yukon knows how cold it is. So he's dealing with that upstate New York cold. I remember those days. You know what's a huge culture shock is when you're a little kid to move from Hawaii to upstate New York in a small town. And the first winter is brutal. About -20 today. I'm out in it. Well, better you than me, sir. Better you than me. Thanks. Also talked to Jeffrey, but thanks again. You're welcome, Craig. You know, like I said, I don't know too much about the company side, except that the company drivers I've talked to are fairly okay about it. And, you know, if you want to become an IC, then you only got to do 6 months over here on the company side, and then, you know, as long as you get a truck through SFI or somebody else, then you're good to go. I don't run winter state, says Alex. I don't blame you. You have serious cold weather gear. Right, Yukon. If I had to be out in this all the time, that's where you got to have those big coveralls that are good for 50 below zero, that kind of stuff. Next Gen, what's up? PJ, Happy New Year. Yeah, you can always get warm. This is Bandana. So, but Missouri is not used to -30 degrees. So, and if you're going to see single digits, like say in Oklahoma or Texas, that's going to screw a lot of stuff up. A lot of infrastructure fails at that point. So, but that's the thing with coal, man. They're hard on these trucks. It's hard on tires and seals and rubber and everything. You know, steel. It's you know, so you risk a lot of wear and tear running in the cold states when it's this cold. 15 degrees next gen. Where are you at? If you don't mind me asking, sir. Did you see Thor's live feed? He was in California, Kentucky. Yeah. No, I'm not in Walmart. Nope, no Walmart for me. There's a Walmart right down the road, though. But I forgot to turn the heat on the APU. 5 in West Virginia. Yeah, I'm cold. Bandana says, I noticed many driving with cardboard covering grill, etc. That's the problem with these newer trucks, is that if you don't get enough heat going, you can't do regens going down the road. So it screws up the whole regen thing. Now, some trucks have Arctic packages where they got the screens, you know, and you put them on. You got to be really careful, though. If it gets above 40 degrees, you need to take those off. But it's, you know, I think at one point I put cardboard on my Peterbilt because I just couldn't get it warm enough to burn off anything. So JBG says hi. All right, well, tell him I said hi back. Heck, it's cold in Alabama, says Craig Watson. 1 degree with 15 below wind chill in southeast Ohio. Rick Jones, got to go get unloaded. If I don't catch the next live feed, you and your family have a great New Year. Be safe. You too, Rick Jones. Thank you. But if I ran a lot of winter states, I would probably get, you know, the screen for the front. That looks a lot better than the cardboard. Yep, here I am, Christian Trucker. I was just talking about you. Just talking about going south to hang out with you. But you came in just in time for me to turn this off. My signal real sketchy. Yeah, well, it's the bad thing about running the south is, man, you get on I-10 or I-20, man, my signal doesn't do really well. Do you do walkabout? Like a walk around? I always do walk around before I get in and out of the truck. Yeah, screen looks better. Food Mooch, good morning. Modern trucks don't need a winter front because the placement of the thermostat is on the engine, not in the radiator. Don't waste the money. Okay, Yukon, that's good to know. I kind of wondered why the new trucks don't need to have them. And, you know, Yukon is such a great YouTuber because he has a lot of knowledge. And he's helped out quite a bit. When all the other Travel Loco guys were busy, you know, talking about how much money they were making, Yukon's the only one that actually went on the DAP board and showed you how he makes his money. So I give credit to Yukon. Next Gen says, hit me up when you get done. Okay. Yukon says he knows things. Daniel Nottingham, what's up? Where are you at, Daniel? Nottingham? No. Need to get the coffee maker all fired up here. Just sub, didn't realize he had channel. Yeah, he doesn't do a whole lot on there. PJ, I can't discuss what load I've got. At the house, might go out for a short haul, says Daniel. So you're right there in the thick of the cold. Kaislin, what's up? Need to do another cooking video, and Happy New Year, be safe. Yeah, I've been slacking on the cooking videos. I've been just using the microwave for the most part. Food Mooch says Yukon needs to go live. Who asked me where I was at? Daniel, I'm in Rolla, Missouri. Rolla. Halfway point between Springfield, Missouri and St. Louis, Missouri. John is better than. Dave Moreau, what's up? Just say no to cooking videos, enough already. I haven't done that many, Agent Orange. Beware of Columbia Foods, those people are idiots. I will agree, Food Mooch. Dottie's in Cuba has better breakfast, LOL. Dave Moreau, I agree. I'm not at a truck stop, I'm at a customer here in Rolla. Cuba is always a good stopping point. Now, Dottie's was good back in the day, but it seems to have kind of gone downhill. Not you so much, others, Agent Orange. I think my best cooking video was the one I did with the McDonald's, where I threw in raw hamburger and a potato in the thing, and then like magically it became hamburger and fries for McDonald's. That's on my parody. You know, it's on the cooking playlist. Knowingly overloaded me yesterday in Columbia, Missouri. I hate it when they do that. It's like you do nothing but load trucks all day. You know at one point it's overweight. And they're just trying to pull a fast one, hoping that you'll run illegal to get it done. Thanks, Craig. I try to be honest and positive. That's why I always do the B&G for breakfast, says Dave Moreau. And it's like, I remember one time I was picking up in Rickett Benkaiser. It was with Translands. They're French's Mustard there in Springfield. Now, several times a month, I would end up going from that plant to Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. That was a normal run. And it was always just like one item. It was all mustard, okay? And I went, I bobtailed in. They told me, okay, your trailer's indoor, whatever. I go up to the door, I pull out, and I go to close the doors, and I start cursing because there was 2 extra pallets. And I knew it, and I knew I was going to be overweight. So I go back inside, I'm like, hey, I'm overweight. They're like, well, how do you know? I'm like, because there's more pallets than normal. It's almost all the way to the back. I'm going to be overweight. Well, we can't do anything until you actually go scale the load. So I went and scaled the load. It was about 10 miles, well, not, about 5 miles from there. Scaled the load. Sure enough, it was 82,000, 2 pallets, 1,000 a piece, right? So I come back, they told me to drop it in the door. You got to drop the trailer and all that crap, because they can't have you hooked up the trailer at the door. I was so mad. And so after about an hour of no movement, I was like, so what gives? Well, we're trying to get approval for reworking the load. Well, there's nothing to rework. Just take 2 pallets off. You put on 2 extra pallets. Normally you get 24 and you put 26 on. How freaking hard is that? And they were just like, well, we got to get approval from this guy and that guy, and we got to call the manager. It's like this big hubbub for 2 freaking pallets. And so I lost the entire day. And that was right here at home. It was just like ridiculous. It's like you guys load trucks 10 hours a day on your shift. If you load trailers 24 hours a day and it's the same product, you know what the weight is. You know what causes overweight issues. You know how to load that truck. How do you fail at that? And that's it boggles my mind. Well, Food Mood, she said, because that's what the customer ordered. The the place where it was going to in Mechanicsburg is a Rick and Bankheiser, and they get these trailers all the time. So it was like it was a weird fluke. It wasn't like they were trying to load a specific order for a customer, which that'll happen too. I was overweight on I pulled a pail rider, and I was overweight on my tail, unknowingly, because they loaded it heavy in the back because I had 2 stops. Foodman says I had to drive 24 miles to Kingdom City to scale, then go back. Yeah, that's the bad part about Columbia. It's carelessness. It's a case of they don't care. So you're right. These places truly do know, but there are some drivers and they just put their head down and take it. Right. Yeah, anybody who saw me opening the doors of that trailer was like, man, that dude's weird. Because I pull forward, you know, and I'm just like, I go in the back and I look back there, I was just like, you know, and somebody was looking at me like, why is he having a fit? And it's because I knew I've done so many of those loads, and you know, it's just, oh man. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Let's see if there's anything I missed here. How does your truck pull up hills with 41K in the PA hills? My KW goes 50 miles up the damn hills. It's not the best. It's oh, who was I talking to or listening to? There was a driver. Oh, it was Big Rich, you know, because he's got an X Prime truck. And he's talking about how it's a dog up the hills. My truck does fairly decent, but it's not like awesome. You know, it's somewhere in between. If that makes any sense at all, it probably doesn't. I have yet to do 41,000 up PA with this thing, but I do know that there was a low going to Union City, Georgia. I don't really want to do it because I don't want to deal with Monteagle and then the hills in Georgia with, it's a 45,000 pound load, and I know the shipper, so I know it's going to be heavy. So, but it does all right. It's, you know, with it being an X Prime truck, it has no issues with weight, but it's definitely not geared to roll up the hill like an 18 speed. Told me to run Route 63 around Scales, had to call broker, tell him what's happened. Yeah, Food Mooch, that's BS if they do that, because by law, they can't give you more than 80,000 pounds. They can't make you over 80,000 pounds. And see, the problem with that, Food Mooch, is that there are drivers that will do it, and the brokers use those drivers. So, you know, I can't tell you how many times I went to pick up a hazmat load for Landstar, and they're like, oh, you're the first person that's had to call Landstar for the placards and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, because you guys aren't going to get one over on me because I'm the one who takes all the risk. So, I remember one time I had an overweight load, and the nearest scale was 30 miles away. And at one point I told him, I said, if you don't get your act together after having to scale it twice, I'd be like, you know, just empty it. I'll go somewhere else. Food Moose says it was 83,160 pounds. See, there's no reason for that, man. My truck is a 2015 6A with the Cummins ISX 15 8-speed. 8-speed? Speedwagon, morning snow, Lord, it's 9 below zero in Minnesota. Yeah, that's cold, dude. If you do it once, they'll expect it in the future, right, Dave Moreau? That's instant CSA points. Yep. So, you know, and here's the thing. When I was at Landstar, we, you know, on the Inway side, we were close to losing our ability to haul hazmat because our score was so high. Daniel Adams. Daniel Adami, what's up? I didn't see you sneak in here. You're awfully emotional here lately, Daniel. Do I need to delete the video I did with you just to show you a lesson? Anyways, so Landstar required us to call when we picked up a hazmat load. So that way they made sure that we had to send a picture of the bills. We had to make sure we had the right placards on, make sure it was secured right, make sure it had a padlock on it. You know, all they wanted to go over that with you because they weren't taking any more chances, because too many guys were picking up going, okay, thanks. They put the placards on the trailer and they were done, you know. So many violations. And I can't tell you how many shippers were like, well, we've never had a problem with this before. Well, regulations state this, this, and this, and I would show them the regulations. I've seen Landstar getting shouting matches with the shipper. So guess what happened? Guess who wasn't doing hazmat loads for these shippers anymore? Landstar. They were losing these accounts because these shippers couldn't get away with the stuff they were getting away with us. So my angle of doing hazmat loads just to stay above water went out the window, because all the hazmat stuff that we were doing, a lot of it went away because the shippers didn't want to deal with Landstar's, you know, white glove approach to it all, because they want to get one by on the driver. You know, they don't want to worry about the numbers on the placards. Hell, I picked up a load one time, a hazmat load, that, you know what they handed me for placards? They handed me a sheet of paper with the diamond this small that I had to cut out. I'm like, you have absolutely no idea what you're doing, do you? Well, no. Like, so they actually had to drive me to the Flying J there in Tulsa. That's where I was picking up at. And they had to purchase placards because they had no idea what they were doing. And it's like, how do you not know what you're doing, man? It's like, well, I guess it happens. You know, you get people that are in these trucks, they don't know how to drive, so I guess it stands to reason. You go to a restaurant, they don't know how to make a taco, you know, even though that's what they do all day, you know? I told broker they can fix it or take it all off. I'm screaming broker, I knew I was pissed. Good. Alex, I don't run overweight, never have. It's a reason for, yeah. Dude, some states, man, that overweight fine, like 83,000, that'd be a huge fine, dude. Just to be like 2,000 over on your axle, even though you're under 80, if you're over on your axle, that's like $200. It's $100 for the first 1,000, and then it's like so many for the next. And you know, and Adam Gallagher, what's up? And you know, and the way I avoided that once I was at Landstar and Snyder is that I tend to not run a whole lot of heavy loads. The heavy loads I do haul, a lot of them have on-site scales, and I've never had an issue. I've never had to have a load reworked. And you know, what's interesting is we pick up at a customer in Wilmer, right? And I'm not going to say the name, but those of you who are over here knows who I'm talking about. And they have an on-site scale. If I took a load from Wilmer to Ardmore or Marietta, they tended to have a little bit over on the axle, or it'd be like 82 and some, or it'd be like 80,000 and some change. And I guess they got the memo that you can't get away with that because they got that new Super Coupe going southbound or northbound on 35 there. So if you're delivering Marietta or Ardmore, you have to go through that scale. and they bring everybody in. Natas, if you're overloaded and getting a wreck and kill somebody, it's your butt, right? Gotta go cook blueberry muffins and link sausage. Have a great day, Craig Watson. Oh, lucky you. After listening to a live low board from Landstar, made me say thanks, but no thanks. Dave Moreau. All right, Yukon's back. If I have to work the spot market again, it will not be with the Landstar low board. The Landstar low board is limited like the Schneider low board. However, you might be able to get on the DAP board and try to get certain loads and then have your agent book it, but that's kind of hard to do. Mike Stevens, what's up? But here's the thing, guys. You know, if you have a wreck, and it's especially a fatality wreck, guess what? They're going to look at your speed. They're going to look at your brakes. They're going to look at your tires. They're going to put that truck under a microscope. Like, you know, you see all these guys that do like 70 in a 65 zone. Yeah, you may not get a ticket for that, but here's the thing. If you could be doing 66 in a 65, and if you have a wreck, and it's your fault, and you killed somebody or had a major injury, guess what? You were speeding. So, yeah, it's only 1 mile per hour over, but it's technically, that's, you know, that was something that my trainer taught me. First thing was like, just because the speed limit says 65 and you're going 66, 67 in your car, yeah, you may not get a ticket, but if you have a wreck, that liability is on you, whether it's your fault or not. Oh, the truck was speeding. And a lot of people don't realize that. So same thing with the weight. Any risk that you take, that's why the ELD mandate, it's like, in the old days, if your paper logs were off or if you falsified in any sort of manner and you had a wreck, it was your butt. There was nothing you could do. The lawyers had you. So having an ELD puts that liability on the logbook side out the window. I bought a lottery ticket, hope to win so I don't have to drive anymore, says Foomooch. I hear you. I want to see an overload check out Lake Pepin, Wisconsin happen this spring. 96,000 pounds. Wow. Surprised the trailer didn't break. Dollar Bill, what's up? Speedwagon, 3 cranes. Powerball at 350 million. 350 million. So the take home on that, if you get the instant payout, it's probably like 5 million. Isn't that how the lottery works? You can get 350 million over 20 years, or you can get 5 million right now. So that would be nice. I could do a lot of things with $5 million. First thing I would do is I would pay off this truck, and then I would pay off the house, and then I would buy a car that's neat. So, hey, Ike Stevens, if you're still in here, man, I liked your last video, man. And not because a certain cool guy was in it. Well, that's part of it. That's part of why I liked it. 5 million is enough to get me out. Dude, 1 million is enough to get me out of the truck. Food mooch. So, well, guys, I gotta go. I gotta look at the low board, make a decision, make an executive decision on whether I'm going home or not. And if I'm going home, I gotta get rid of this dumb orange wagon that's behind me. So that's usually not fun, because they'll probably send me to Maida, Missouri, which, if any of you have ever been to Maida, Missouri at Diamond Pet Foods there, that is not a fun place to go. You are in the woods in Missouri. In the woods. And 2-lane road with no shoulder, the whole 9 yards. So hopefully it'll just send me to Springfield or something. So anyways, guys, take it easy. Thanks for watching. Click on the bell and all that crap. So if you enjoy these live feeds, which this one was kind of pointless, just to gripe about how cold it is. So anyways, we'll keep this one up. How's that? So you guys take it easy. Happy New Year.